All right, so this is Ryan over at Nintendo. Don't usually say my name. Sorry about that. Let's get started. The more I've looked at this whole thing with Nintendo, the more I can't stand this company. I can't stand this company. It reminds me of all the corporate greed that I've ever dealt with in my life, all packaged into one. All packaged into one. They've got one game coming out on this system. They made one game. The rest of them are remakes that they're charging you $20 more for than you paid in the beginning. They're charging you $20 more for add-ons. They're charging you for a manual. The manual to show you how the system works is $10. They have one game. Now they see the tariffs. They're like, well, wait a minute. Our entire Treehouse Live was people going on there and saying, drop the price. But we're going to use the tariff excuse. Even though we have 350,000 of these systems already in America, we're going to use the tariff excuse to charge more for this system. We're not going to put the pre-order out there. And you know what that builds even more of is tension. That builds more tension. They're like, oh, I really want, people are like, I really want to get this system. They did make sure that they let you know that the system is going to come out on June 5th, which tells you that they have systems already made and in this country sitting in a warehouse somewhere. They already have it done. So how they're going to charge, grandfathered in tariffs. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. They're using tariffs as an excuse to charge even more for this. They need to get rid of this CEO that they have. He's a businessman. He's not a video game player at all. They need to get rid of him. He has ruined. I mean, this company has not been great for a long time because what do? They just resell you things like examples. Like back in before the Switch came out, they used to have a handheld and they'd have a home console, and the handheld would be a $40 price when new, and the home console would be $60. And then if the game sold well, they would mark it down to $20 and repackage it and call it the classic version or whatever they called it, and they would sell it to you at $20. And then the new system would come out and they would pretend that they did something to it, and then they would package it for you and charge the new system price, and you would pay it. Because this is what Nintendo does. They barely make, it's like the shoe company nowadays. The shoe company barely makes new shoes. They just recolor shoes that they made in the 90s, and they charge you 3 times what they did in the 90s for them. And people are like, whoa, that's a nice shoe. Yeah, just, I had that shoe back in 1994, all right, and I paid $30 for it. Now you're paying $120 for it. It's ridiculous. And this is what Nintendo is banking on. They've Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild, you paid $60 for it. Now to get it on the Switch 2, you got to pay $80 for a game that you already bought and paid for and already beat. And they're like, well, you just got to pay for the upgrades. Or we'll put the upgrades behind the paywall, and you got to join the membership and pay how much money. And if you pay all this money into this membership, the second you don't pay anymore, you don't get any of those things. You should keep every single update of everything that you got up until you ended that membership. And then if they add anything to the membership after that, you don't get it because you're not paying for it anymore. This is why I don't have the membership plus or whatever it's called for Sony, because I got tired of, like, when I didn't really need it anymore, I would shut it off. But the games that I downloaded with that thing that were free, I didn't keep anymore. I'm like, fuck you. Like, I'm not doing that. You paid for partially for those games. I don't care if it was 100% paid in full. I don't know. You put it on there. That's not my problem. It's your problem. And think about in 20 years' time, like in these game cartridges that got coming out, like half of the games that come on this is just a code, so you don't have to type it in yourself. It's just a digital code. So you're so lazy, you can't even type the code in anymore. So you got to get this cartridge to type the code in for you, and that's all that's on this. What if you live in the middle of nowhere and have internet that doesn't barely work? How long is it going to take to download a 69 gigabyte game? That's the whole thing about physical games. If you live out in the middle of nowhere, or if you play the system 20 years after the servers are shut down, what are you going to do? You're not going to be able to play that game. You may as well just bought a brick. Be more useful. You could build a house with it. You got a whole bunch of bricks. You know, like you got a whole bunch of bricks sitting over here in the video game collection. You could have built something with it. But no, you just got these video game cartridges that have absolutely nothing on it. And you can't download it anymore because the servers are off. Everything is becoming rentable, but not keepable. You don't keep anything that you buy at all. And that's really where they want. I'm surprised that they didn't come straight out and say that everything's a subscription. If you don't pay into it, you don't get the game anymore. That's coming. Switch 3, if Nintendo's still around then, if people don't vote with their dollar and get rid of this shit, that's coming. That's next. Everything's rental service. And, you know, some people are pushing that kind of thing and not thinking. I mean, I'm already dealing with it with Adobe. You can't even buy Photoshop anymore or you know, anything. Like, you used to just buy a version of Photoshop and run it until it was so antiquated that just didn't, you had to buy another copy. And then you would run that for another 5 or 6, 7 years. It's like, it's crazy to me what has, I mean, look at the games too. It's like interns made these games that look like shit. That Tomodachi and a couple of others that, you know, these cozy games, you can't put more effort into it than that. I mean, how many cozy games? I wouldn't be surprised at all if companies are sharing assets because they're making money hand over fist with these cozy games. They all have the same exact look. They all have the exact same premise. It's like people like putting themselves to work. You know, think about what Animal Crossing is or some of these other games. You work the entire time. It's work. It's like they're creating just this thing, this system built into our head, minions, this sheeple. And I didn't like some of the wording that they had in the Direct for the Switch 2. It was the same wording that they used in 2020 shortly before that other catastrophe happened. And I thought it was very odd, the timing of Animal Cross releasing. And everybody's like, well, that's just coincidence. There is no thing as a coincidence. Actually, in mathematics, a coincidence is a perfect occurrence. Something that was going to happen. I mean, really think about it. If you get the system, you get the $500 system, you get the $90 controller, you get another $90 controller. I mean, imagine if you have 4 or 5 people in your house and everybody actually wants to play it because it's Mario Kart and it's the only game that's on there. So we might as well enjoy it, right? So you need, it's probably 4 controllers because it allows you 4 players. So that's $90, another $360. I mean, you're $1,000 before you even leave that store because tax is involved. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I mean, this is why the few videos that I do make on this channel are older games because I buy them when I see them on sale. Like I just bought Shin Megami SMT5 Vengeance. I found it on sale for $29. I bought it. It was $59 when it came out. That's why I wait. I'm not paying these $60 prices. But the problem that you run into with Nintendo is that never happens. Their games never go on sale. And if they do, it's like $5 off. I loved it when I was selling stuff on eBay. I knew that I could buy a Nintendo game, play it until I was bored with it, which was real quick, and then sell it usually for more than I paid for it. I think I've actually probably made more money off Nintendo than they've made off me. So I have to thank them for that. But I'm just not doing it this time. I don't even like their games. Their games are the same game over and over and over again. Now, granted, most RPGs, they do follow the same, especially if they're Japanese. You got to save the world. You got to make a decision for everybody in the world. World's coming to an end, blah, blah, But the way you get there is different. But with all Mario things and all Nintendo games, I mean, look at Donkey Kong. It looks like something that they could have made back in Wii U. There is no advancement there whatsoever. You got these people talking about how ingenious this system is that they created in as Donkey Kong. No, it's not. It's trash. Nobody truly would play that if Nintendo actually made games. They just recycled, regurgitate. Like that last, I know that's not Nintendo. I know it's Game Freak. The Pokemon that just came out, the last ones that didn't even work. And it was the best-selling Pokemon ever. And so they're like, well, these people are, idiots. They'll buy anything. The game doesn't even work. It runs three frames per second. But they bought it anyway, so we're not even going to patch it. We're just going to let it die. And then we'll charge you $80 for it when it comes to Switch 2. And it'll have 10 frames per second. And people will buy it like crazy because it's Pokemon. Another game that looks like trash. That's the best you can do. That is the best you can. How many people work at Game Freak? I think that's the name of the company or the studio. How many people work there? And that's the best you can do? That's what it looks like? It looks like a game that was built for iOS in 2014, and that's the best you can come up with, and it runs 3 to 10 frames per second. And people buy it. People buy it. Here's this trash behind me, this Donkey Kong. Looks stupid. I just can't do it. I can't do it. I hope that we watch them absolutely fall apart. Now, I know they have a massive amount of money in the books, so it's not going to hurt them. They don't have monopoly money like Microsoft with an excess of $2.12 trillion sitting in the bank, but they are in the billions of excess. I mean, just think about how many times have you bought Mario? How many times have you rebought Zelda? How many times have you rebought these games? And people were asking for just a report of Wind Waker and the Twilight Princess back onto the Switch. You bought the damn things on the Wii U. And that game from FromSoft looked so old. I'm like, oh, here's another report from a game from 2013 that I forgot about. But no, it's a brand new game. That game looked stupid. I don't know. It's just like Skyrim. I mean, how many times have people rebuy Skyrim? At least they put effort into that game, even though it was a turd. It was great, but it was terrible at the same time. I guarantee if this works with Nintendo's $80 for Breath of the Wild that you paid $60 for almost a decade ago. A decade ago. If it were the video game industry, I hope it crashes again because it really, I mean, Nintendo is becoming the most slime of the slime industry. The many transactions and everything that, I mean, and they finally stopped because even the government got involved with that because that was getting out of hand. But what do you call charging for a manual? That's a microtrans. It's a manual for the system to show you how it works, and you're charging for that. I mean, really, really look at Nintendo's history. And even some of the stuff that they're bragging about with the Switch 2, we had on the DS, and then it disappeared, and now it's back. And it's the newest and greatest. Nobody's ever done this before. Now, people voted with their dollar with the 3DS, and I'm hoping that happens again because this is absolutely out of hand, and they're going to blame the tariffs. The tariffs had anything to do with it. You already have 350,000 units sitting in a warehouse somewhere, probably in Texas. How many are you actually going to sell on day one? I mean, globally, it's probably in the millions. But, I mean, in this country, how many really are you going to sell day one? Probably about 350,000. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I don't know. I don't pay attention to that anymore. But the fact that when they said that they were going to look at the tariffs which are, the information on the tariffs already exists. We already know what it is. You got to reformulate, but it's still coming out on June 5th. They are adamant about this thing coming out on the June 5th. I don't know why. Their fiscal year was in March. I don't know. I hope it flops. I really do. I'm usually all for companies making money, but this time they have just gone. I mean, they don't have a single new game other than Mario Kart World, which literally looks like they took the assets from Mario Kart 8, which you've already paid for, and just made a new game with it. It doesn't, the atmosphere, granted, does have a little bit of extra, but that is it. There's no damage to the vehicles. There's no grit on the road. There's no grit on the vehicles. Somehow you can ride through a field or a mud or rain or whatever, and somehow nothing ever happens to these vehicles. They never look weathered. They always look pristine. It's bullshit. At least do something like that. Anyway, I'm done. Anyway, comments, whatever, down below. And one last thing that I just thought of is the Treehouse Live people that I just had in the thing behind me. I don't think it's they were looking down because of how many people were coming on there telling to drop the price. Their job is to repeddle the same shit that they've repeddled over the last 20 years and resell it at a higher price to you, and they know that. How excited are you going to be about that? Oh, I already did a Treehouse Live for Breath of the Wild. Oh, I already did a Treehouse Live for Tears of the Kingdom a decade ago. I already did a Treehouse Live for Bravely Default like more than a decade ago. And this is the best they can do. How Square Enix couldn't make a brand new game for the Switch 2? I have no idea how that's possible. How many years has this been in development? How many years did they know that they were going to come up with another system? How many years? So for Treehouse Live, of course, the stupidity of this whole situation. This isn't plugged in. Is it plugged in? Okay. The stupidity of this whole situation is written all over their face. This whole thing is such a hot mess. Anybody excited for this thing? I don't know. What are you excited about? The idea that they're going to resell you games that you've already bought on another system, they already play on the other system? Or like the 1,000-year door, or whatever that was, that 3D Paper Mario game that ran terribly on the Switch but ran fine on the GameCube. This is what they're doing to you. A game that ran fine on the GameCube, they're going to resell to you at a higher price on the Switch, even though it doesn't run on the new hardware, but it ran on the old hardware. I'm over it. Anyway.